Good afternoon, I hope everyone's well today. Thank you for watching. Been doing a bit of deep thinking this evening. I know, what's this working class gammon doing deep thinking, but here we go. You need to be aware of how our democracy functions, how Parliament functions, and the powers of the King, the Prime Minister, and the MPs, all 650 of them in the House of Commons, which is how, in this little thought experiment, I'm going to explain how Rupert Lowe, or another based, right of centre, independently minded MP, could become Prime Minister with majority support of Reform UK MPs, and they could actually hypothetically oust Nigel Farage or any future Reform UK leader based on the way our Parliament works. The first thing I'm going to get into is Farage or any leader, including Keir Starmer, cannot fire members of Parliament. What they can do is withdraw the whip. That is the only power a Prime Minister or a leader of a political party can take. They can resign the party banner, but they remain MPs. Just look what happened to the MPs that rebelled over the winter fuel payment being cut, or what happened to Rupert Lowe and Reform UK. They're all still MPs, they're just not under the Labour or the Reform UK banner anymore. So, that's point number one I want to make. The second point I want to make is it's the majority of MPs that control who is Prime Minister. Not Parliament itself, not the House of Lords, not Keir Starmer, not the King. It is the MPs themselves, alright? The Prime Minister only serves as long as they command a support of the House of Commons, the majority support of the House of Commons. If Farage or Keir Starmer or any Prime Minister loses that support, they are obliged to tender their resignation to the King so he can be replaced. That's the way it works. That's the way our Parliament works, okay? First among equals, the Prime Minister is no more powerful than any other MP. So that's point number two. Point number three, mass resignation of the whip is a power move. That's why I'm so bitterly disappointed by all the Labour MPs. If a majority of Labour MPs or Reform MPs resign the whip in protest and back the new leader, a more principled, based, right of centre MP, for example, that person can go to the monarch and demonstrate they command the House of Commons majority support. You've got a new Prime Minister, and that's how our constitution works. Albeit unwritten, that is how our democracy functions. The MPs control the Prime Minister, not the other way around. So say, for example, Farage, when he becomes Prime Minister, which is becoming more likely by each passing day, then his MPs are unhappy that he reneges on a manifesto pledge, for example, mass deportations of illegals or criminals. Say he gets in and decides he's not going to do that. But there's another more based MP that is going to do that. All they need to do is mass resign the whip, say they're going to back this new independent MP, and boom, you've got a new Prime Minister, a more based Prime Minister. And that's the way our constitutional monarchy and parliamentary democracy should and can function, and that's what I'm highlighting here. Now, in that hypothetical situation, Farage or any Prime Minister could attempt to go to the King and call a general election by asking for a dissolution. But if Farage did that, the monarch isn't obliged to grant it, especially if the person can command a majority, another MP can command a majority in the House of Commons, and a viable government can be formed without a general election. This is part of the Lascelles principles, named after a former royal private secretary, which suggested the monarch can refuse a PM's request for a dissolution if the current parliament is still viable, an alternate government can be formed, an election can harm national stability or security. Under those rules, the King could refuse Farage's request and invite the independently minded MP to form a new government. Alright? Never be under any illusion. The reason we're stuck with Keir Starmer is because his MPs are weak. They are not independently wealthy. They are dependent on party funding and branding to get elected. If we had another 600 MPs that were independently minded, like Rupert Lowe or other based MPs, then we'd probably have a more vibrant democracy, which is what I'm saying in this little thought experiment. I'm not calling for the resignation of Farage at the moment. I am a Reform voter and a Reform member. I'm merely highlighting my constitutional insight. More people need to be informed of how our system actually works. If you like this video, comment below, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good evening and thank you for watching.